Okay, we're getting started. We've got Eriror and these players, so I'm going to go look up that information right now, actually. Just check on their PBs on the leaderboard. So that I think I've seen both of them in randomizer races. This makes me think that the execution, we'll see. Okay. It looks like Eriror's got a fresh 131, and shadyforce has a nice 137. Both very recent PBs for many of these new runners, both within the last month. So, obviously, Eriror will be a strong favorite then. A 6-minute difference is a lot in this game. But at the same time, one bad death, say to Cold Stare or Trinex. So make sure to watch closely through this race, as I think he'll be a movement advantage for Eriror already. Hallway. Just notice how even when it seems like nothing is happening, the advantage is going to start to creep up in these early rooms. Which did get the better blue guard there. What you want to do with that blue guard is you want to hit it into the statue and then knock it towards the door. Saying two things at the same time. Use the door while you're killing the guard and spawning the key. It's really a great example of an early strat that's just so many brilliant strats in this game. I was talking to Cypher, the record holder, today, who came up with many strats for this game. And admirable video game skills and just the intelligence and creativity to be able to put them all together. So in Escape, we're thinking about currently, I mean, some of us kind of zone out in Escape. We're thinking about our pumping. Strats here on this guard. The pot +4 or the 8/, I believe. Even. There's actually quite a bit of RNG in Escape, just movements of enemies and so forth. So what's going on in the story right now is taking Zelda to the prom. Link had a roommate, this total jock, and Link was a total nerd. And the roommate was going to go ask Zelda out, and Link, in a fit of rage, he just killed him in an alleyway. Football uniform. And now the football uniform of the evil jock and is taking Zelda to the prom. Is that an old-fashioned Holiday Inn, and all these people wearing green, you see, are the hospitality workers. Not easy to push that throne optimally. Small gap as possible, but if the gap is too small, then you won't be able to get through and you waste time. Kind of just staring back no good at all. We've got very similar times in this escape. That's in part because we got some bad RNGs for both players having to pick up safety hearts. Really, I'm sure both of these players have gotten a sub-6. You know, the enemies kind of conspire to keep you... Did something happen with the text on Eriror's end? Was he not scrolling his text? So I thought he finished the escape first. I'm watching correctly in some way. It just took longer than I expected. Maybe something's wrong with me. Yeah, I picked up this commentary. Nobody else was doing it, so I may be a little confused, especially of the world around. We see this overworld here. Not an easy overworld to navigate. So shadyforce got hit. Different ways to knock that away. Repeat button. I've done that before. I honestly should be watching closely enough to know. I'm gonna be going through Eastern Palace. Eastern Palace basically pump heavy, you know, walk movement heavy section of the game. That's going to end very soon. Escape and Eastern are really kind of unique in the game because you don't have them. So everything is really different with the movement. That makes them kind of special. I think here is only the ones that they want to spawn. But like Ian picking up that heart, then missed the pot. There, you also saw neither of them boomeranged the little magic jar. It saves about 2 frames. So around, I guess it would be 1/30th of a second. Really, both players losing a ton of time there. A whole 30th of a second. 60th. Here we're coming up on the big key skip. And that gets you to touch the... With the invulnerability frames, you get to touch the button. Yes, through the anti-fairies, his little wiggling red things. Here, their bow. This is just a bow that Zelda wants to put in her hair to look prettier at the prom that she and Link are going to be going to. It's just about accessorizing Zelda for the prom. Okay, so I'm told that my mic is cutting off intermittently. I just need to talk a little louder. I feel like I've been mumbling a little bit because I'm sort of a mumbly person. Okay, so trouble with what's called the Zelda Gamer Room. It's called the Zelda Gamer Room because a player named Zelda Gamer freaked out at this room one time. He's falling back behind with this problem. I had this problem in our race last night. You just need to kill both of them before the one's eyes close. It's almost like a cycle type thing. Both players are going for the top right strategy on Armos. Very well. We've got about an 11:05 on Eriror's side. On Shadyforce's side. So, Shadyforce keeping pace pretty well, but it's only with a lot of mistakes from Eriror. I think Eriror is certainly not happy with the way so far, coming in at 131. For Eriror to solidify his lead over the next few splits. Now, we've gotten jewelry for Zelda. Her hair. Got her green jewelry. Talking to her dad, and we're saying, is it okay if I take your daughter to prom? And he says, okay, here's some shoes, and then you need to get 2 more pieces of jewelry. It's to the southwest in the desert, and the other is to the north in a mountain. Listen Japanese for some reason. He also says you need to study. You can't just be thinking about dancing all day. You need to go to the library and study. So that's what we're doing now. We're getting a book so we can study girl with our intellectualist. Notice, it looks like there's been some separation, but really it's mostly because Shadyforce got those rupees, right? He also did miss the spin speed. So he lost some time for that. Mostly it's from getting those rupees in the back of, stealing money from Zelda's dad. It's the family, just take their money. Very unfortunate from Eriror. He got the dash into the water. Huge waste of time because now your tuxedo is wet. Don't really know kind of his own little route there on some of these rooms, and that's okay. Then, it probably loses time. It's time anyway. If you think about it, it's better to get a worse time because then you spend more time playing this great game that you love. Okay to do unique strats for that reason. On with that logic. So Eriror is the one with the name Eriror under it. Versus the one with the name Shadyforce under it. Eriror is on the left, Shadyforce is on the right. We're seeing them get this bonk key, and now we're seeing them dash to the big key. Fine for both of them. Like that. You're also going to see them picking up a bunch of 5-arrow pots here. There's a free one near the beginning, and then there's a slightly less free one. Here, they're going to get 2. That's going to put them nicely at 30 arrows, and they're going to use the arrows on the boss of this dungeon. The boss of this dungeon is, in some ways, the hardest fight in the game. To optimize, you can beat this boss in 2 cycles. The worms, that is, you can beat them with them only coming up from the ground twice. But a good fight would be 3 or 4 cycles. You need good RNG to make sure that you can get them in 2. RNG and good execution. With these little wiggling popos. High execution rune, there's a few. You need to react very quickly. Pretty straightforward pattern for Eriror. Passing through this next room. Does get hit by a popo, and a nice little bonk. And key dashes, if you position yourself on the right 4 pixel. Every 4 pixels, there's 1 pixel where if you dash from it through a door without bonking. In this game, there are bees. You can call them wasps, but I think bees are their preferred pronoun. Started this fight for Eriror, just getting but only getting 1 arrow per spawn. 1 left on the first one, and then 2 on the second one. Go pretty solid. Bad positioning from Shadyforce, but he gets 1 per. The worms early. Nice. Okay, very solid. So a nice 3 cycle from Shadyforce. Rather than taking them both down gradually, basically 1 hit per cycle is what Eriror did. And Shadyforce, 3 hits on 1 worm every cycle and 1 hit on the others. So Shadyforce's was a bit faster, but also a bit more open to bad luck if that had happened. But and the kind of 1 at a time strategy worked out for him. You're going to see these players doing the fake flippers glitch. There's a screen scroll glitch where you need to pixel. You saw Eriror going a little bit too far. And you jump into the water and tap right. And you're going to scroll the screen right as you hit the water. There you saw it, perfect from Shadyforce. We've got, this has been very common in this tournament for some reason. We've seen a lot of these. A ton. That would have been, if Shadyforce had touched his controller. Fuck. Save and quit. We allow save and quit only for that error. Really very surprised at how often it's happened in this tournament. No offense to the runners. Here we're seeing Shadyforce. The fake flippers is now going just back around the west side breeze. Behind Eriror with all the time that it took to attempt those fake flippers. So basically, when you're in the glitch state, if you get hit by an enemy and then move, there's going to be an infinite scroll that happens, and you won't be able to input anything into the game. It'll be a soft lock. Shadyforce is, as far as I can tell, as far as I remember, is the first soft locked player who remembered to save and quit. But maybe the reason that they remembered to save and quit is that so many players have been soft locking there. Really very strange to me because actually a frequent mistake. Frequent run-enders soft locked there in years, I would say. All sorts of deaths and we're seeing Eriror, some kind of strange strats here. Most of us like to use the boomerang in that lobby in Hera. One thing you'll note with rando players is that they often just don't think about they're not used to always having the boomerang or always having certain equipment. Strats that rando players will come out with are based on the minimal equipment. Here, just a sword. And having gotten through the tile room, right now, having gotten through the tile room, what he's going to do is he's going to get a pearl and then a ruby to complete the accessories for his would-be girlfriend Zelda. Outside, you need to get her a lot of jewelry if you want to take her to the prom. Eriror hitting that switch. A lot of right before Moldorm, that's the boss of this dungeon. Another weird strat here. Yeah, I don't really know why we're gonna go back up again. No, you don't need to mirror if you hit the switch. He shouldn't have mirrored there. He can just dash down if he hit the switch as he did before. Now he needs to kill these guys again. Really a very close match here. Because that fall on the bomb jump is kind of equivalent to the fake flippers mistake from Shadyforce. So, very nervous match from both players. I wouldn't say, based on what little I know of these players, I wouldn't say very happy with how it's going so far. I would say both of them hopefully will be able to show us some better stuff in the Dark World. Now, Eriror on a better pixel this time, just to make sure. The edge, but the problem with living on the edge, my friends, live on the edge, you fall off the edge. Where it's before. The Shadyforce with the safer strat, getting those pixels. Picks the window to do that bomb jump if you don't bonk. You're going to have a 6 to 8 pixel window if you do bonk. Okay. Nice. I don't know why anybody wouldn't. In this fight, we're just trying not to get knocked off. Some people dash, some people poke. I like dashing, and sometimes I like walking into him. He has a little invulnerability after you hit him, and so you want to time it right. Get him right as... Or you could do that. Or looking like you missed the spin speed. One thing you'll notice is that when you have the boots, jump off a ledge, that happens very quickly. So Eriror, after dashing to those stairs, walked over the ledge. As he's walking off the ledge, he taps A to get what's called a don't remember what it's called. A quick ledge, a quick jump, a quick hop, I forget what. For getting the tree rupees. Kill 4 enemies and then pull the next tree without taking a hit. That'll give him 4 red rupees. He's already killed. On there for our pal Shadyforce. Notice is that Shadyforce is killing a lot of enemies anyway, just because they're on the way. That's why Tree Rupees is such a good strat, because I don't really know some of Shadyforce's overworld movement, so a lot of new players dungeons, but they won't watch other runners' overworld movement. They do some strange things. We've seen that a couple times from Shadyforce. Times in these overworlds that's not necessary to be losing. Eriror, he's almost there. He's getting his mushroom. Powder later on, unless he's doing fake powder mushroom strats. And he gets that 4th kill from that bush. Kill. Maybe he forgot about something he wanted to kill earlier. But all in all, doing Tree Rupees saved him maybe just a couple seconds on the back of Saha's real odds. Worst out there. So we're seeing now creation. This is again quite the best dash route from Shadyforce. Remember, it's been so long since I did non-tree rupees, to be honest. Tower. Aga Tower is an underrated dungeon in difficulty. Just for a little plot here, what happened is that Zelda's uncle, the wizard, and he said, you can't take her to prom. Did. And so you're going to his house, and you're gonna and some very difficult rooms in this house. As you're seeing, Eriror having some trouble. He tried to do a prize pack manipulation strat where dash into them. That'll cause them not to spawn a prize. Had not knocked them back enough with his sword. Was not successful with that strat. So executing it perfectly, stopping that dash a little early, but fairy coming up there. We expect to get that fairy around 45 minutes in Turtle Rock. Minutes for these players. So we're really planning ahead with what we see out of the prize packs. Prize packs are really important in this game, very underrated by many players. Advise new players to memorize the prize packs and keep track throughout your runs of what's coming next, because you can really save play safer with magic and health. Bombs and arrows. By keeping an eye on your prize pack. We're seeing some bad luck from both players. Fall in that dark room, and now we're seeing Circle of Pots bad luck from Eriror. We also saw Eriror running out of arrows in the room that Shadyforce is in now. And that was because he hadn't done in that very first room of Agamemnon's Tower. Dungeon. One of my least favorite dungeons in the game. Yeah, missing that. Fortunately for Shadyforce. Oh no, there's many problems here. Let's come to your own conclusions about that room. The pot, and then missing the arrows. Now we're on to blue balls. Eriror already getting one. Big hunk of RNG. Not even their count, it's just sad. So, just notice, both of these players are on emulator. They both have the same input display, the same FPS display. That is one way to play the game. Experience, I will say, moving to console is like relation. Anybody who's serious about this game, highly recommended. That's what I'm told. So we're going to start seeing some Palace of Darkness. Not the most pleasant place in the game. A lot of keys being collected. Anybody who's watched the Key Sanity Tournament knows keys in this dungeon. First one. Five of them, because we do the hammer jump. That saves us from going down to the basement. Now we're going to get the big key, and then we'll need our third key. I don't understand is why this is called the Palace of Darkness. This is dark. Now what's happened in the story part of this game, convinced Zelda not to go to the prom. So Zelda's dad said, what you need to do is get 6 other girls in crystals and put those crystals in your pocket. And those crystals will be powerful enough to harm with you. It's basically just trying to make Zelda jealous. So the first girl lives here. In Turtles. Shadyforce avoided the soft lock by saving and quitting. We've seen a lot of soft locks in this tournament. Comes both successful for both players. I should be explaining that, but I'm saying goofy crap instead. Just taking a second there, Eriror, to pick up those errors. Marked on the low errors before. To 5. We'll have to pick up maybe an extra pot in Swamp, let's say. We have a 5-error pot that everybody picks up in Thieves Town and a 5-error pot that everybody picks up in Swamp. And we see Shadyforce with a much healthier arrow count. Hurdle Room. So you have to do this in the right pattern, and there's still some RNG, and just beautiful turtle party. And now this boss, Helmasaur, 17 hits to the mask and then 8 hits to the face. Hammer to the face does 2. We're getting hit. There's a lot of RNG in the movements of this boss. The turtle party, not quite so successful for Shadyforce. To widen. What's going to happen in Dark World and in the game. So first of all, half the time of the game is at the time of the game. Maybe 9/10 of the difficult rooms in the game are in Dark World. If Eriror is already ahead, we're just going to see that gap widen unless there's a big mistake. Given the 6-minute gap between these players, and it looks like Shadyforce had a pretty solid light world, so the gap we can expect will be in Dark World. Having the better Helmasaur King fight, hammer hits to the face. It actually made up a little time there. We are going to see yeah. Great idea from chat. Palace of Darkness has a lot of turtles, and it also has a lot of rocks. Okay. Change voice settings so you guys can tell me if it's an improvement. Here, what's happening is Link heard that Zelda likes musicians, so Link is going to learn how to play the flute. Now, why he needed the hammer, I don't know. I don't know why Zelda is into guys with hammers. So that's a little weird, but not out of the question that Zelda's a little bit of a freak. So, or is that Zelda's dad is helping take his daughter to the prom. Oh, and we're seeing Eriror just having a ton of trouble with those spin speeds. Spin speed. A lot of time lost there. Quite close. Let's take a look. Standing on the S at around 40-32. I think both players will be getting the powder. And pretty much exactly a 30-second difference here. So already 10 seconds saved. Correct execution on a few rooms. The powder. The powder is probably the best safety in the game. The reason it's such a strong safety is that when you're at the prom, saying things like, oh, I need to go to the powder room, or I need to go powder my nose, to have the date sequence of the game go very well. From Eriror. And Shadyforce losing a little time, but just being safe, killing that blue guy with a hammer. Just a little bit better execution in this overworld than Eriror. Is going to be closing this gap. This town is a difficulty level up. The enemies start to hit a little harder here. Going to do 2 damage. I died here last night in my tournament race. Royal's domain to some. Interesting thing to note is that of those 30 seconds, Shadyforce has already lost several back. And we have to think that this is simply from movement difficulties, basic movement differences between the two players. Shadyforce getting moneyed. The yellow spinny devil. I'm there as well. Moneyed twice, losing so much time here. Meanwhile, Eriror getting through the hellway quite quickly. Of this house. So the important thing, the reason you bomb the floor is that there's a disco ball. And the girl you put in your pocket here in Thieves Town will only dance to you if she can see the disco ball. Disco ball from the room that you can take her to. You're there. You're going to dance. You have to dance with her 9 times. And then you're going to put her in the pocket with the rest of the girls. It doesn't matter for Shadyforce. I do think both of these players are good enough to be doing the Tempered Ganon. You figure have to be used to Tempered Ganon. No matter their some silver arrows from Shadyforce or from... Yeah, and you're seeing Eriror just get hit by that guy. That's 2 hearts right there. Should be enough for the dance at the end of this match. Eriror just having some rough here. Dance. If you know the dance, it's easy to dance. That's the way dancing works. So step, step, step. Oops. Step down, and you step down again. It's perfect. You step down, and you step left. That's just a beautiful dance from Eriror. You saw that the girl, when the dance was over, was very far off to the left. Means that she hasn't had time to recover. So now this is the second girl you're putting in your pocket. One funny thing about these girls is that their hands were their hands. I used to think that their hands were their mouths. They just had these weird, enormous, smiling mouths. Sweaters underneath them. That they're wearing dresses and are just kind of clasping their hands together. Yes, put me in your pocket so that you can convince another girl to go to the prom. And fight there for Shadyforce, but survived that one in real time because I was goofing off. Basically, what we saw happen with Shadyforce was that they were on the pattern and just kind of lost track of it right near the end. See, Shadyforce's timer had gone to red. Neither of these players are on PB pace. Both have had all sorts of problems. Play overall, but big mistakes on both sides. Not a small number of blue balls, if I remember correctly. Emma's getting very political in the chat. We're going to be getting our Tempered Sword. Tempered Sword is a very good sword. Runs this game seriously. It's their favorite sword. Butter Sword just lags too much. The Tempered Sword does lag a little bit more than the Master Sword, whereas like all dungeons no EG. Just when there's a lot of enemies on screen, the Tempered Sword can lag a bit, but the damage upgrade is so huge. Nickname for the Tempered Sword, but anyway, the Carrot Sword. I thought the Carrot Sword was good. Hang up, maybe taking a little bit more time than it's worth to set up that warp where he goes straight inside. Got their Tempered Swords. They're gonna head over to Skullwoods. But a really tough room here just to start off Skullwoods. Yeah, lots of problems here for Eriror in this room. This is another room that you can do it programmatically and just manipulate with your movements the movements of the mummies and avoid the hand. Not see Eriror do so successfully. That with that magic powder, a real lifesaver. His health right at the top of the screen there. Does take several menus to do so. We'll now be doing a bomb jump to get Fire Rod, one of the most important items in the game. Crucial here and for Trinex, and of course makes pretty much every torch lighting room easier. There's, I think, only one more time in the game that we'll go back to the lantern to light a torch. Way at the end of the Gammon's Tower. We had almost a little bit of kind of there, both in the same part of Skullwoods, going in different directions. We're just going to see Eriror making his way towards the Mothiel fight. Dash here. The left there is so they can just hold upright to walk past those. And Shadyforce now the one to miss a bomb jump. Very well on the hammer bomb jump, the hard bomb jump. But both missing one of the easy bomb jumps. Till a fight. Gonna dash into these. Oh, one hit is nice. One hit is more than 0 hits. Or tempered sword hits. Tempered sword is already making this fight so much easier. Cuts in half the number of hits you need to pull off on Mothiel. Obviously another very close call there. Once all the spikes start moving, you really want to end that fight very quickly. And I recommend the tutorial Hirsch TA, I believe. Somebody in chat can correct me if that's not the username of that runner. TA has a great tutorial on how to kill moths quickly. It's just very important to get it before that fight can really start eating up your time, and it can kill you. Game, but in real life. Skullwoods is like the Matrix. See if Shadyforce does anything better here. Although so far, just needs one more hit. How much magic things take, but there you go. Now Eriror is we'll have to ask some questions about what route he's taking. He has chosen during what seems like it should be the Ice Palace split. Ether. To get Ether, if you switch away from Mire, Swamp Palace split, because Swamp is a split where hearts don't matter that much. It's possible that Eriror will be doing Swamp before Ice. All of his stuff right now. We do see the Ice Rod. To be very different from normal person menus. With these rando runners, they don't feel it's necessary that normal people do. See how it works out. Going over to get their Quake and Flippers. Medallions are basically just swag, you know. Link decides that what Zelda wants is a bad boy, right? So he's going to come in enormous gold medallions and just swag to the earth, you know. He's gonna have sunglasses and he's just gonna his hands. You know what I mean. His fingers and he just waves his hands around. And he's just gonna be really swagged out at the prom. And that's what Zelda's gonna be into. And it's not our place to tell Zelda or shouldn't like. Palace. Eriror is also going to Ice Palace, getting bodied by those crabs. Destroyed. To watch Eriror's health through this Ice Palace. I don't know anything about Ice Palace. I'm trash at Ice Palace. I don't have anything to say about it. We used quite a lot of magic on getting that first ice dude dead. Eriror. This is very risky. And this is why I was saying, if you're gonna go and get the ether and the ice rod, do it during your swamp split. If you don't want to do it during your Mire split, do it during your swamp split. I have such low health. You got your. Okay. Well, you know what? Don't even listen to me. Don't even listen to me, because well, all I know is about prom. I don't know about health. So Eriror is completely fine now. We saw our bomb jumps. Bomb jumps. You get on the right pixel, you wait for the bomb to go off, it knocks you diagonally. The Shadyforce now actually having lower health as he goes into Cold Stare. But certainly 7 hearts is enough. That's enough to tank one Cold Stare hit. Not going to be a problem at all. And we saw here a pretty good fight. A pretty good fight from Shadyforce. Under an hour for Ice Palace. That's not so bad. Honestly, if Shadyforce plays very well, pace going forward. Despite missing those fake flippers. Of course, it wouldn't be a real PB, because if he were really running this category, he wouldn't have been able to save and quit after fake flippers. I think that was a very good Cold Stare from Eriror. We see a girl wearing a green sweater now, again with an enormous mouth. girls in your pocket, but cozy in there and so nice. So, despite the fact that this has been really quite a mess so far, taking decent time. Right to swamp here. Now we see shadyforce also not doing the normal Meyer collection. He's doing the ether now. Maybe we'll do the ice ride as well, or maybe we'll wait. Wow, these overworld hits, and a nice fairy. shadyforce. If he didn't have powder, that would matter so much. As it was, maybe it was a waste of time. I don't know. That would have been so nice to get. And if this were Meyer and not Swamp, where it doesn't matter. Because nobody would ever die to Argus in a tournament race. Only one person has ever done that, and that person, glorious, glorious man. And a beautiful, just, and scholar. Eriror making his way into the Swamp Palace, the most annoying palace, the most irritating crap in the game. And, you know, you're seeing Eriror doing some stuff and trying not to get hit. No. It's, as Nietzsche said, the swamp stares back at you. A place of existential dread, where you're just saying, is this really what my life has become? Spending 7 minutes dodging enemies? At the prom, I'm supposed to be tears of my life. I'm supposed to be with a beautiful girl, instead I'm pocket. What's happening to me? Link? This doesn't feel like who I am. So now we're getting the hook shot, the best item in the game. Hook shot, after party. It's just all it does is it hooks a shot class to you. You bonus section at the end of the game. Q or whatever the rate, you know, NC-17. So let's just assess the gap between these two players right here. A bit. Again, a weird dash movement from shadyforce. To get better at this game, just watch people who are good at the game playing the game. They will never do that, not ever. Okay. Shadyforce should be okay, we'll see. We see Eriror going into Mire. Mire is when life really starts to fall off the rails for Link. Link is walking around. He's making friends with wizards and off the walls. He thinks he's seeing things. He said, hallucinating these apparitions in front of me as these nightmare sludges fall from the ceiling. Kind of peregrinate towards me. Oh, what is this new nightmare of green goo that has around me, is encapsulating my being? That's what Link is wondering right now. That's what Eriror is wondering right now. There are skulls flying through the air at me, and slugs that are bombs on a conveyor belt. It's like an empty shopping mall. An empty shopping mall filled with images of myself through a dark mirror. Of course, shadyforce is about to be thinking the same things. Is going to be walking towards the basement of Meyer, which is to say towards kind of the deepest recesses of his own being. So the boss of this dungeon, the game should be Dark Link. Eyeballs. What I think it represents is the kind of homunculus and the way we look at ourselves and how we really want to move forward is kill that ever-watching eye inside of us and stop looking at ourselves with such something. We've also gotten the King of Samaria along with the medallions. It's just for swag. It's pure swag. There to complete the game. But when you go to the prompt sequence, you'll be carrying the cane in front of you. Feeling very happy to have that powder. And he's just going to switch to it automatically with that bomb. Game are beautiful. There's several bomb switches to powder if you play with powder in this game. With powder, that bomb switch will take you to the fire rod, which you can then automatically. But if you use the fire rod, you can hit that switch with it. Then it saves a little time, saves you an arrow. We are going to be using these arrows to kill your I, the inner me, the ego, super ego. That's the ego, and playing the super ego. Inner I that tells you you can't. That's wrong. Nasty. That's what he's destroying. That's a part of himself. To be successful at this prompt, I need to get rid of my hang-ups about, all these things about myself. Shadyforce also very low on health. I'm gonna have to powder. Honestly, should powder right here. Does. Back on Death Mountain. And every time, it's a real pain. Everything on Death Mountain moves quite well. Honestly, some very advantageous RNG and very sweet execution. Making it through that vitreous fight quite well, actually. You see how strong this powder safety is. It's really just saving these guys. And it's allowing their execution, and when it's good, to come through, despite the fact that they're having a lot of troubles. Now, Eriror is now in a dungeon that literally represents hell. There are skulls flying across his, and he's looking down and he's saying, "Why am I so frightened? Why am I no longer confident in my own 2 feet? Do I want to fall? I just want to become one with the ness that extends out below me. Fly towards him like eagles of pain." Also, he should have gotten that bomb the first time through. If you're gonna mirror, you should get the bomb on the right the first time through, because you need a bomb on the left the second time. Just a little tip. But yeah, anyway, Link is having a rough time of it here because it's a real mess. This Chomps room, one of the most annoying rooms in the game, and just beautiful. Eriror has really impressed me. He just read the RNG perfectly and said, "I need to go to the right and not the left." Chomps was actually quite difficult for the right as well. So he said, "I'm going to just a little bit further to the right than I normally would." And it was perfect. Edge of the switch with his first block. Yeah, just gorgeous. Great Chomps room. Some of the featured enemies in Turtle Rock are called Pokies. Pokies are basically cute animals that Link wants to keep as pets. Zelda, that he can be a caretaker. But first he needs to separate them. They come in packs of 4. And put them in just a little purse. He's going to look really good with his necklace and his medallions and his cane and his purse. He's just going to look something out of a music video. A lot of people get that cane menu wrong. From Quake, that's one of the most frequently menus in the game. Even people with like 125, down, left, right, or up, left. Those are the ways to do it too. Oh, and nice drops from that Pokey for shadyforce. Remember, we said a long time ago, we said messed up the prize pack manipulation in Aghanim's Tower. Right, but still getting absolutely demolished. Powder. You have to think shadyforce will be able to survive here, but no. Walks right into Fairy. Right into it. Anti-Fairy. Screen, we see Link, finally with torches on both sides, making his way off the final gap of hell. The dragon that he must destroy. His tempered sword, he's using the ice rod and the fire rod that he found in the northwest corner of the dark world, and the other in the southeast corner of the light world. His knowledge of Hyrule, heaven and hell, and of good and evil. But now he has, as Nietzsche said, he is beyond good and evil. Good and evil don't apply to him anymore. Broken Skull. of the beast, and he shouts at God, "It's you next. I'm tired of killing. Enjoying life. If you want me to take another life, this prom, then let it be yours." Instead, what happens is that Zelda killed the beast. Rid of those other girls. Prom is in the house because it's psychedelic nightmare energy in, in Technicolor and just an awful blue. So now we're in Ganon's Tower, also known as the prom sequence. Shadyforce having some trouble staying alive, and Eriror having some trouble getting that key. Despite all the nonsense, Eriror is on pace for maybe a 132 we might expect, a 132 or a 133. And his PP is a 131, so not doing so badly. Shadyforce almost getting caught by that laser skip. Through. Oh, Ganon's Tower, or the prom sequence, is full of just very fun rooms. Every room, just sequence after sequence. Killing enemies. Warping here. Sequence. We're bonking across that gap. Powers. To that power just for safety, I guess. Uh-oh, Shadyforce. Oh, and playing very nicely. Oh, that's almost better than getting it across the normal way. First Shadyforce. Also saying all that stuff about fighting God and so on. So happens on Shadyforce's side. Shadyforce may be on PB pace. 137 is outdated. T-Rock was a real mess. Nothing against Shadyforce, but not what he needed if he wants to. We've had play both of these players. We've seen some low points and we've seen some high points. It really shows you the strength of this game. It's really about the cycles of life. Kind of adolescence with the whole prom thing. Yeah, because you kill things, and sometimes you die. It's really about being human. This game is about. The Eriror out of arrows, going to have to do this gauntlet errorless now. Very low health, really, but we'll be able to powder soon. Rod to kill this skull guy. Really nicely, much better than I did in my race yesterday. Oh, bad again. Okay, I'm gonna lean towards that. It's the powers that be. A message about life from getting out. They need you to be fighting each other in order to make profits. That's what I think. Got through the Landmark 2 a little slowly. Now is in the two canes ring, the Wizards. Releasing that cane shot a little late. Releasing that one a little early, but he still gets the 2 cycle. Action. Nonsense. I can feel that I have a great connection with everybody who's watching right now. Soul and in the body, if we're being completely honest. Waiting for that door to close so that he doesn't get the enemies disappear. Now that's another thing about life. Try to kill our enemies, but without our enemies, what is life? Where's without enemies? That one really makes you think of it. Onto Moldorm 2. A bit like Moldorm 1. Because now we have the Tempered Sword, we need 1 slash, and then 1 spin. The only one of the refights that's really harder is Armos 2 because of the ice. And even that doesn't have to be harder, because if you have the every Armos is 1 shot. Now we're coming on to the Geometry Wizard. Means you need to think about the angle that your yellow balls, the energy balls. There's 2 in the first phase. Should be 2 this phase as well. There we go. And here we can probably get another 2. No, not quite. So a 3 cycle here is quite good. Optimal, much like Landmark 2. I mean like Landmark 1. Who keeps casting ether? Well, look, I turned down the voice gate, so you're probably hearing a lot of stuff. You know, it's my secret laboratory. That's where I come up with all these theories that I'm telling you guys. You know, Eriror's timer still is red. That suggests that either he hasn't split or he actually has a 129. Now Eriror is going to try to get the 1+1, but doesn't quite get it because he got hit to the side. So Eriror is going to be losing a lot of time on Ganon. It's optimal, and from what I'm sure is his best. It's 1.5 hearts. But actually got the 2+1. We got that 2+1 with that RNG. We see Shadyforce making their way through Gauntlet. Powder is so useful for both of these players. Safety. Ganon is what sees you with all your bling and the cane and everything and all this jewelry. Zelda says, "You've become a different person. I liked the old Link. I would have gone to prom with the old Link, but now you've changed so much." So Canon, Zelda's father, Sahasrara, turns into, because it turns out that he was giving you bad advice the whole time. He didn't want you to go to prom with his daughter. She already liked you, and he was trying to change you into something that you're not. So this game is really about how you shouldn't change just to go to prom, especially if you're going with the daughter of a weird old man. It's about prom. The moral of the story, you might call it. A myth, like the kind that Joseph Campbell was talking about. The Eriror is going to finish up with a low 132 PB, or maybe more. I'm not sure if the PB is updated. I'm going to give it a good shot. I may have found a problem. Hello, Eriror.
Yo.
About your race. Congratulations.
Thanks. That was certainly a run, but it was okay.
It was the
nice commentary, by the way.
Sorry?
Nice commentary, by the way.
What is your PB?
My PB is 131.20. So I was like plus
really
40
very specific. Say basically the difference this round for you is just the Hera bomb jump.
Oh yeah, that happened. That's true.
That was the one big mistake. I'm trying to think of really off your game besides that. Do any moments stick out to you?
Just so many little things that I got damaged where I shouldn't have, that I just had sloppy movement and got punished for it. But aside from that, it was just like okay. It was okay.
Shadyforce getting a good 1+1 here on Ganon, so Shadyforce will probably be in here with us soon.
Oh, he's already.
Yeah, certainly you guys that made really good use of that powder.
Yeah, so I've
really helped you guys throughout the run.
Yeah, I've been trying to run without powder lately, but for the tournament races, I decided that I really need it just in case something goes wrong. Just like this race. So, but yeah, I definitely love powder.
Shadyforce missing the torch glitch.
Oh no.
And so, it's a little weird because Shadyforce is on PB pace, but soft locked and had to save and quit.
Alright, yeah, I caught that. That sucks. Because then it's not eligible, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be a real PB. I mean, coming back for what is going to be a much better time than with that mistake is very impressive, but it just won't be leaderboard eligible soon.
Yeah, that's a shame. But that means that he's gonna get a real one soon, because he also died in Turtle Rock, right? So that's a good sign.
Yeah, he died right after chance. Up to there, it was really quite close. Yeah. And I would say that gap that became obvious where your end game was really quite solid. That How do you feel about the tournament in general? How do you feel about? I know I've seen you in a lot of randos. How do you feel about transitioning?
I love NMG. NMG is just so much fun. Just actually really seeing yourself improve via times and how your runs have been going, rather than just being like 5 minutes slower than the top finisher in a rando seat, but you don't know if that's by execution or just by him checking something else a lot sooner.
I remember hitting a rando because it's just like you don't even know, was I unlucky? Was my execution bad? Were my choices bad? It's just very hard to tell. NMG, you can really see the improvement, and sometimes you don't even know where it comes from.
And I've just learned so much from NMG, and I mean, I just enjoy it a lot more at this moment, and the community is great, and they help a lot, and yeah, I love sticking around.
Glad to hear it. Maybe we'll be able to get shadyforce against them about the death and about the soft lock, and just a really don't know. Who else is it? Who else is it before?
Sorry, you're kind of cutting off a bit.
Oh yeah, that's been happening all day.
All right.
4.
In the who I beat in the group stage so far, I lost against Gerdo and won against Mages. I've been getting similar times all tournaments so far, so I've been pretty consistent. That's nice at least, but.
That's very solid. Two and 1, so you advance.
I think it depends on what happens. If Gerdo wins against Mages and Shady wins against Gerdo and Mages, then we have like 3 2-1s.
Then there would be maybe a tiebreaker. Anyway, I mean, chances are that you advance with this race. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I think it's very likely that I will. So this was the most important match for me.
Playing very solid.
Yeah, I don't expect Gerdo to lose. That's very true.
Congratulations. Certainly look forward to seeing you continue to improve. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying that. Here's shadyforce. So, shadyforce on kind of a PB. Of course, it did have that save and quit. Run.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, or is it cutting out still?
Hello, Runner Watcher, can you hear me?
I can hear you both now.
Yes, I can hear you, shadyforce.
Okay, yeah, GG to Eri. Well done, good race, man.
Yeah, GG, man.
Really solid time, yeah. I wasn't getting close to that, so that was really good. Well done.
Yeah, so Shady, I was just wondering how you got a kind of PB here. How are you feeling about the run? You had the soft lock and then you had the death chomps, but still, despite that, beating your best time so far, so you must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a perfect run by any means, but I think I showed good pace, and I think I have a good PB in me if I can just avoid silly things like the soft lock and the chomps. I think the chomps is a bit unlucky actually. I've done worse in that room. They just got me that time. The chomps won that fight.
Sometimes you just don't cooperate at all.
Yeah, that was certainly rough on the chomps. Although you didn't die until the next room, right? You died with the anti-fairy, so that may have been avoidable, just thinking about the movement.
Yeah, I even slowed down. I didn't want to try and beat the anti-fairy, so I slowed down to give it a chance to get past the stairs before walking down. But then I just walked down too soon anyway, so that was really silly. That's the big mistake, really, because I could easily powder and just carry on then.
Yeah, I think you might just want to go down early and then wait for him to turn back and then powder him, I guess. But yeah, that's really unlucky.
Sometimes when you overthink that, because normally you can get past that without getting hit, without thinking, if you had full health. But when you've lost health, you overthink it and you try to do something funny that's safer. But sometimes when you're trying to do something safer, it actually ends up, because it's not what you're used to doing, it ends up being less safe.
Yeah,
So a good rule of thumb is just, if you're in a trouble situation, you often want to stick with what you're used to rather than thinking too hard about what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good lesson to learn, I think, from that situation. Just do what you've trained yourself to do all the other times you've been in Turtle Rock. So I think that's a good lesson to learn there.
But we did want to congratulate you. I think there's a lot of people who have soft locked in the tournament, and you're the first person who I've seen who's actually remembered to save and quit.
Well,
your header about you for that.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I soft locked in one of the weekly races, and I didn't keep my head about me, and I mashed the D-pad, and then that was it. Run was over pretty much. So maybe it wasn't a weekly, but it was some sort of race anyway. So because of that, and because I was watching the stream where the other guys both soft locked, and because I read Greenham's announcement recently, it was just fresh in my mind. So so I was very careful to not touch anything except select there.
Solid. Well, I kind of hopped on this commentary on a whim because they didn't have anybody, so I'm probably going to head out in a little bit. Any final thoughts from you? Any final comments?
Yeah, so I gave Shady a good 10-second lead at the beginning of the race because I decided to talk to the priest twice. I selected no.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah. that was a good start of the race. So, yeah, from there on out, it all started to kind of go downhill when it came to my usual pace. But I'm glad it turned out to be a good race in the end, and GG to Shady.
GG Eri, yeah. I don't know how long my 10-second lead lasted. Probably somewhere in Eastern when I messed up one of the rooms, but and I probably was behind you ever since then. But still, it was a good race, and I'm 4 minutes behind. That's not too bad. I'm still on your heels. I'll catch you eventually. A few more weeks of training.
Exactly. I first had to catch up with Boyne because he cut me last weekend, so I have to get my sub 130 someday.
Yeah, I'll get my sub. Sorry, carry on.
It sounds like you guys are both working thinking really hard. And that's really good to hear. Certainly very glad you both have been, and good luck against Gerdo. I think that's your last match.
Yeah, I've got. I think Eri, you've played all 3 games now, right? I think I have Gerdo to play and also Megius. I still haven't arranged with Megius yet.
So 2 matches left. And good luck on your remaining 2 matches then. I expect to continue to see improvement from you in those 2, and just eager to see you both continue in the tournament.
Thanks.
Weeklies and in other races with the rest of the community.
Definitely. I'm definitely trying to stick around in the community. It's been great so far. I've been enjoying myself.
Yeah, NMG is great fun. I'm really enjoying it, and everyone's very nice and everyone's very friendly and helpful. So it's cool, and I'm enjoying it definitely.
Well, I hope you guys have a great evening. I'm going to sign off. Your streamer will decide what happens next.
All right. Well, have a good day, everyone. And thanks to everyone working behind the scenes as well.
Thanks for commenting, Runner Watcher. Really appreciate it. And thanks to Fiesel and Willard and guys behind the scenes. GG, everyone.